What is up, guys and gals? It is the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room on this beautiful Whiskey Wednesday night. I am glad to be back. It felt like I was away for like a month, being in Vegas for more than a week. But I'm back, glad to be back, guys, and about to do an epic tasting I never thought I'd be able to do unless I shelled out a shit ton of money. However, with the gracious help from Liketime Whiskey, Dan and Julie, sending me some epic E.H. Taylor samples to do a blind tasting live here tonight. It's this is the way that it's gonna go down tonight. This is how we're gonna come back strong on this Whiskey Wednesday night. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. I'm Jason C. If it's your first time here live, welcome in. Glad to see you. If you're just coming into the live stream right now, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, or tell your friends about it. I'm this close to hitting 70,000 subscribers for my my wee little channel, so I really appreciate all the support that I've gotten from everybody. Not only do we have this epic blind flight tonight, but I also have some surprises for you guys that we're going to be tasting tonight. Stuff that I did not anticipate having tonight, but through the magic of the amazing folks in the whiskey community, it's going to go down. So right here in front of me is Jackie Zykin's newest passion project, her project called Hidden Barn Whiskey. Hidden Barn Kentucky Straight Whiskey. This is, I got this sample just before I left for Vegas, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to taste that stuff. And here it is. This is the project that Jackie Zykin has been working on ever since she left Old Forester. I have a full review of this dropping tomorrow, where I get really in depth with it. But I feel like as a surprise, I'm going to taste through this a little bit with you guys tonight because I think it's really unique. I'll say this up front. This is not going to be everyone's favorite cup of tea. It's a completely different profile. You have to take the Brown-Forman part of what you're used to tasting from Jackie Zykin out of the equation. Because what you're going to taste in this is it's more raw, it's more textured, it's yeasty, it's grain forward, but there are some really nice underlying flavors and tones in it that I think everybody will appreciate. But we'll get into a little bit. First, kind of say hi to you guys. Missed all of you. Let me get back into it here. I'm just going to catch up here. Big Vic's Backyard Barbecue kicking it off tonight. John Farron. Cheers, Jason. What is going on, man? William Wiley is here. Nice to see you as always. Rob Zilla in the house. What's going on, man? Justin Jenkins. What's going on? He's drinking the red line. Rebecca Page is here. Rebecca, I finally got that bottle, Rebecca. I like that one a lot. Tim Gorgeous is here. What's up, Tim Gorgeous? Mick Whiskey going for the E.H. Taylor ride tonight. Awesome. I think this is Mick Whiskey. I think I caught that it was his first live stream here. So welcome, Mick Whiskey. Special shout out to all the first timers out there. Ham Turkey is here. Let's see here. Blind Squirrel, what's going on, good sir? The Love Boat Captain is here. What's going on, man? Douglas Carver's in the house. Stephen B. Mike Meyer is here. What's going on? Bourbon, drinking bourbon. Bo's Wine Guy's in the house. Cameron Lochner. Yeah, we'll talk about those new 4 gates coming out real soon. Sergey AG, thank you for your service. Welcome back. Glad you're back home, buddy. Let's see here. Michael Radonich is here. E.H. Taylor's my Grail bourbon. Can't find it anywhere in Boston. Oh, yeah, but yeah, Boston's a tough place to hunt bourbon for sure. Unless you're willing to pay. Let's see. The Brew Baker Maker. What's up, Ernie? Ben Hernandez is in the house. He's sipping on the Mash and Journey Taconic. I'm telling you, if none of you guys got that Taconic, you're missing out. It is one of the best ryes I've had this year. Not even kidding. Honest Charlie is here. Stacy H, my fellow Colombian. How do you say that? Oh shit. Let's see here. JG, John Perclay's here. Lionel G. There is Julie L, the other half of Liketime Whiskey. Between Dan and Julie, thank you for sending me these samples, guys. You guys are just too amazing for the whiskey community. Richie Z in the house. What's going on, you legend? And a bunch more people coming in here. JG is here, of course. Jeff Perkins, Chris Buzalencia, Carter Grishabert, and just a whole mess of people. I will have to catch up with you later. Josh Randall, Are You Schlammered is here. Jason, where did you get that shirt? This is available at Rarebird 101. Rarebird 101 has a store, Turkey Tees, and somebody made this shirt for him, and I absolutely adore this shirt. So you'll probably see me wearing this shirt a lot in reviews and on live streams. So let's see. Yeah, I got to pick that up. I haven't been able to get that one yet. There's Dan L. What's going on, guys? Dan L is here, the other half of Liketime Whiskey. And if you guys have not subscribed to Dan and Julie, please do. It's Liketime Whiskey. Find them on YouTube. Subscribe, please. Whiskey Dictionary. What's going on? Bill, nice to see you, man. Duke McHale's here. Durrell Stewart in the house. What's going on? And Trevor Kunkel's here. Man, everyone is here tonight. I am so glad to be back. All you guys, thanks for all the great notes I got. I know everyone's like, Jay, we missed you last week, but I mean, it was a week, but it felt longer. I literally was like living in the convention center at Mandalay Bay for 8 straight days. So I got in there Saturday and left Sunday morning. So it was a long friggin' week. It's my busiest time of the year, like work wise, but it's over. Glad to be back. Now got a lot of like post show marketing stuff I got to do. But other than that, it was successful. I got to meet Sammy Hagar. I got to meet, we had a band perform. So we got Sammy Hagar in the Circle to perform. So Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, and the one and the only fucking Jason Bonham was there. I got actually a drum skin sign, which I'm gonna hang in my drum room. So it was a lot of work, but it had its fun moments. I dropped a couple reviews last week too for 2 Bardstown bottles, the New Plantation, the rum finish, which I thought was a pretty good whiskey. I just hate the price of $160 for it with so many rum finishes out there. And also, I got to review ADHD Whiskeys, Mr. Matt Porter, his blend from that he got to do for winning the 2020 World Style Whiskey Taster. And I loved it. It's right here. I have to revisit it. I thought the last sip I took of this thing, like I got like this strawberry note to it. And I think being a Burai, having some of the younger whiskey with the older whiskey in it, it's just going to kind of develop over time. So, yeah, absolutely love you guys. Will Henderson, what is going on? Let's talk about, yes, right. Pantera is reuniting. Very excited about that. I'll be in line to get tickets for that. Got to love trade shows in Vegas. We haven't done one since 2019. Sure will. Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. Yes, Jason is. I mean, he's just. So yeah, it was kind of cool for the concert. They played like a mix of some of their songs from the different bands. So they played some of Sammy Hagar's original songs from Montrose. Then they played a good amount of Van Halen songs, and then out of nowhere, which we didn't know, they played rock and roll from Led Zeppelin. All of a sudden, Jason Bonham comes in with that intro, and like the fucking crowd went nuts. It was amazing. So, all right, let's get into this. So some of the stats here, guys. Like I said, so if you guys have not seen the Hidden Barn bottle yet, so it's a nice little surprise. So that's the Hidden Barn logo. Very understated, nothing fancy. So here are the stats from what I remember. Mash bill. So the I'll tell you this, the transparency of this, I would expect no less from Jackie Zykin and her team, was insane. I mean, they tell you it's wild caught yeast. It's 70-20-10 for the mash bill. Aged in 2-year seasoned American oak casks. It is double pot stilled. It was distilled to 120, I want to say 125 or 127 proof, but then went in the barrel at 110. So a little bit of a lower entry proof. And it's about 4 to 5 years old. Barrel proof, the final barrel proof numbers for this is 53% ABV, 106 proof. So not a super high ABV, and that kind of falls in line with what Jackie likes. Jackie likes it at a little bit of a lower proof. She feels like the bourbon shines a little bit more in that aspect. So just a and I think retail price for this about $80. Now, unfortunately, remember Jackie Zykan's going from Brown Forman to Hidden Barn. You're going from this huge conglomerate that has global outreach when it comes to distribution to this small company where I think we're going to see, I think, Kentucky and a few other states. I think Colorado, obviously, because she's partnering with the Colorado, a couple of Bourbon Society guys from out there. So, but already in the press release it had said we're going to see some more distribution even by the end of the year. So I think with Jackie's name behind it, this will probably get out there fast. So this is the first release, which is a small batch, only 7 barrels. So probably not a ton of these bottles around, but let's try it, guys. Cheers. Miss you guys. Glad to be back. Full steam ahead. Here we go. Yeah, about $80 for this one. 4 to 5 years old. I think you guys are catching up in the chat. Said to be about 4 to 5 years old. 70-20-10 mash bill, about $80. So the first note I get on this is butterscotch, which is probably my favorite note to get in bourbon. But behind all that, there is a grain and yeastiness to it. So that wild yeast that they used, this series is called The Hard Way. So they did everything from soup to nuts, the hard way. They literally foraged wild yeast to utilize this in the distilling process. It wasn't like a yeast strain that they had curated from someone. They literally caught wild yeast and made the whiskey from that. So there is a yeastiness to it, almost like a baked bread. But underneath the layers to this, which is really interesting, is almost like a raisined almond, and there's definitely butterscotch, but it is a little bit more grain forward. So this isn't going to be, again, it's kind of hard to detach the Brown Forman flavor profile from what we're used to from Jackie. But remember, that is not her thing anymore. Yeah, there's a nuttiness to it, a little bit of a dark fruit, almost like a cherry raisin thing going on. Butterscotch for sure, but a lot of grain. It's grain forward. If any of you have ever had Spirits of French Lick stuff, so I mean they do things a little differently. They're doing only a number 2 char in the barrel. Alan Bishop, Respect the Grain, where you could kind of almost taste that and smell that grain especially on the nose and again on the palate as well. I'm not going to say it's close to that, but it's more in that realm of like an experience. So cheers, guys. Here we go. First thing that you'll notice on this is the spice. This drink's hotter than 106 proof. There's a lot of rye spice. It's peppery. Right on the front of the tongue immediately, there's like that Pop Rocks vibe where it just explodes all over the palate. And because it's a pot still here, double pot still, this is creamy as shit. It's so creamy. It's just very textured. It's very rich on the palate. It sticks right to the sides of the tongue. It's got a nice spicy finish, but all the things you're used to probably that you're thinking, like with Jackie and what we're used to her creative, all that sweetness. It's sweet, but there's more grain there too to kind of balance that out or fight the sweetness. It's not overly sweet that you're used to from like a Brown Forman. There is sweetness there, but I love the hint of grain that you're getting in here. Like you could taste the corn, you could taste the rye, the spices there, the fruit. It's very well balanced. This was distilled by the Neely family over a very close watchful eye, and it was blended by Jackie. Jackie did the blending for this one. It's a very different profile than I was expecting for this. I really thought it would go on the sweeter profile, but this is raw. It's like punch you in the face types of flavors here. Yeah, it's a young whiskey, and it's gonna there are some youthful flavors in here, but I've had youthful flavors in whiskey that just come off really bitter and just really young and really off. I've said this before. I get it sometimes still in New Riff. I still get it in New Riff single barrels. You know, that stuff's only 4 years old. So you're still getting New Riff single barrels that I still think have like that youthful bitterness to it. Whereas this, I'm not getting any of that. I'm just getting a really nice balance of flavors. It's a little bit more grainy, yeasty, but the butterscotch, the cherry, the raisin, a little bit of that nuttiness and that spice really rounded out. There will be releases of single barrels for this as well. Like I said, this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. And speaking of tea, I'm actually starting to get like a lemon iced tea thing going on. Yeah, like a lemon peel, like a lemon meringue type thing going on the palate. It's very interesting. I mean, like I said, I don't think everyone's going to like this. I'm telling you right now, this is going to get mixed reviews just because it's different. I don't think everyone's going to go crazy for it, but I think where this could go in several years, what Jackie's going to be working on and what's going to come out of that distillery, I think is going to be pretty delicious. So cheers to Jackie on her first project. I can't wait to see what comes next. So, yep. Let's see here. Jason C. or chat, pick a bottle to open. ECBP C921 A122 New Riff single barrel rye or Calumet 15. Damn. Go C921. That's what I would say. That's right. Yeah, and that's a good call out, Kenneth, because that's also what it reminded me of a little bit. If you guys had some of the younger Wilderness Trail, it also reminds me of that. So you're looking at that type of quality where you have like this really good grain flavor. You could almost taste the influence of the yeast in a good way and just some really great balanced flavors. I think sky's the limit for Hidden Barn and what they're going to do. It's only going to get better. We're starting to see the Wilderness Trail stuff at 8 years now. And as this stuff gets older, and who knows what they're going to come up with, what Jackie's going to come up with, like for a blend, for finishes. I think right now, just the small batches and the single barrels are probably going to be what we'll see first. But I'll say this, and remember that I said this, you're going to see mixed reviews on this because I just think it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's different. And I for me personally, I like it, but I like different. If it's not a traditional, like, I don't know, it's not a traditional, like a, Buffalo Trace or Old Forester or even like, Wild Turkey type of profile. It's different. It's raw. It's creamy. It's textured. It's balanced, but it's also a little bit youthful in some ways. So see how it goes. What's up, Brazzers? Any opinion on Chestnut Farms? Got their BB, wasn't that impressed. I haven't had any of that yet, Lucas. I'm working on getting that because people have been asking me about that one. Haven't had a chance to try that one. So what's the next surprise we're going to crack open right now? So that was surprise number one. Surprise number two is going to need 2 glasses. I'll just leave that there. And I'm going to put this right here because this is the newest batch of Russell's Reserve 13. That's right, Russell Reserve 13, coming in at barrel proof 114.8, which is the same proof as this one, as the older batch. But we're gonna try the newest batch versus the last year's batch and see if there's any difference variation here. So let's see here. The only way you can tell the batches is with that crazy date on the back of the bottle. Yep. This is last year, and this is a 2022. Well, this was bottled in December 2021. So let's pour a little bit of last year's. I'm probably running low on that. That's going to have to be bottle killed probably tonight. Say goodbye to that bottle. And then the newest one here. Might not be a fair comparison here because there is so much oxidation in the first one. But, man, is that pretty. All right. So new Russells here. I can't say I know in last year's version, I should say, we had some I think there was some whiskey in this that was as old as 17 and 19 years old or something crazy like that. There was some really old whiskey in it. I'm not sure if they've used the same thing for this blend, for this batch. So it's hard to say, but maybe we could just tell on flavor to see where it lands. Let's see here. Let's go to the first one, guys. This is the newest batch of Russell's 13. Adam Hinson, you gonna knock on the door? Oh man, everything you'd expect. Just pure vanilla extract, cream soda on the nose, like burnt orange rind. You get a lot of that. I feel like I'm getting more like medicinal cherry off of this one than I remember in this Russell's. Actually, the noses are pretty similar still. The medicinal cherry, I think, has gotten a little bit more strong on this one than compared to this one here. Man, all that beautiful sweet oak is there. Almost got like a graham cracker note. There's like a cinnamon graham cracker on this. Man, super like sweet oak. I mean, it's get a little barrel char too, I think. Yeah, tons of cinnamon. Man. I'm also getting like a clove. Getting like a nice clove note in this as well. Clove is normally a spice I will get, but it's normally on a lot older bourbons. So I feel like there's probably some good age stuff in here. I think there's definitely some stuff in here older than 13. So here we go. Let's try it. I mean, I'm not going to say it's bad. But what I will say is this is coming off a lot oakier than I remember. Now, it could just be my palate. I really didn't drink for the week and a day that I was in Vegas. I think I had like a couple of pours of I think I had like Bullet because it was like available in my room, and that's all I drank. So I can't say I really had a really nice, I could have kept my palate up and running that week I was in Vegas. It's actually pretty darn close. I mean, if they were going for consistency between the two batches, I think they nailed it. The one difference I think I'm getting on the new batch, at least right now, rather than cherry, I'm getting more chocolate on the palate. There's more of like a chocolatey vibe to it. Still has the finish, the long finish, the spice. I mean, I'm not going to say it's bad, but I think if folks are thinking that the new batches are going to have all this variation, at least right now, that's not the case with this one. I mean, this is almost empty, and it's still bringing the same flavor punch as this is, and it's pretty similar. There's no There's nothing off or nothing that I'm like picking up like huge difference wise. That's good. You know what, though? There is one difference I'm picking up here. And I don't know if it's because it's the oxidation. This one is actually giving me a longer finish than that one is. So the last year's version, it's giving me more of a spice on the finish. This newer one, I feel like, is coming off actually a little bit, I'm honestly going to say easier. There's still a finish, but the finish is more of the flavor and the what do you call it? Like the savory notes, like the baking spice notes, the clove, the cinnamon. It's not as peppery as last year's version is, but it does come. It's coming through with a lot of flavor. So, I know these bottles are really, really hard to get. Honestly, this will probably still make my top 10 this year. As once I get into a full review of it, I just wanted to crack it open with you guys tonight. But what I will say is that this bottle, if you were lucky enough to get this last year and you're just like dying, like I have to have this because what if it's a little bit different? What if it's better? It's really not that much better. Or, I mean, for some people it might be less interesting with the less of a finish on it. So I think it just depends. It's not like this brand new, super flavor bomb of a batch where it's completely different than this one that you have to hunt this one down. I know people are going to want to hunt this regardless of what the fuck I say, but I'm just saying, if you got this one and you feel like you're not going to be able to get this year, you'd be lucky twice. You're not really missing a huge flavor variance from last year's version. So that's all I'll say. But don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's fucking delicious. It's Wild Turkey in all its glory. It's Wild Turkey, all its glory, baby. All right. You know what? I'm going to blend. I'm going to make a Russell's 26. It's going to blend the two of them together. I'm going to let that marinate. Last little surprise here before we get into the blind tasting and get into some news and some of the labels that I've been seeing. Is the 13 an annual release, or will there be multiple batches a year? It's an annual release, Dustin. So, yep. Annual release. Julie L says last year we had a tainted Russell Reserve 13 last year, so not a fair comparison, but love this year's. Would have loved arsenic. Would have loved arsenic water compared to our last year's bottle. Man, you got a kind of an off bottle. I wonder if you got like the last, like, I don't know, maybe one of the last ones filled where, I don't know, something just happened. That's really interesting. Let's see here. Yes, if you guys are hanging out, make sure you hit that like button while you're hanging out. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, or tell your friends. This close to 70,000 subs. Big milestone for the channel. And last but not least, Michter's 10-year rye. Now, the reason why this is such a big deal this year is because this is going to be the only 10-year release this year for Michter's. They are Michter's is having a hard time with supply, and this is like the only 10-year. So no 10-year bourbon this year. I don't think we're going to see a lot of special releases from Michter's this year, unfortunately. I think the younger stuff we'll still see if they bring out like the Toasted again or anything like that. But any of their Ultra H stuff, I don't think we're going to see it. This could be the only thing we see for Michter's this year. So I usually prefer the Michter's 10-year rye over the 10-year bourbon, hands down. I think the ryes that Michter's does are very special, especially for the age and for, is it still high priced? But I feel better spending $150 to $160 on this rather than $150 to $160 on their 10-year bourbon. But that's just me. John Walker with the first super chat of the night. Thank you so much. Got to try William Llewellyn last week. Russell's Reserve 13 is the other unicorn I need to find somewhere. Yeah, man, I get it. Yeah, Michter's 10 is so overrated. I would agree with you on the bourbon. The rye, on the other hand, I know it's a little bit of a lower proof, but I think there's so much depth of flavor in these Michter's ryes. I got to turn this off here. Okay. Let's see here. See what the chat is saying here. Now I know why that Nashville Barrel was called Houdini, because it disappeared off my shelf already. Yeah, Alex Smith, that Houdini pick that's a special barrel. We were very, very lucky to get that barrel as a part of our selection. So I'm going to pour this in the old Mash and Drum Glen. And of course, now I really enjoyed last year's Michter's 10-year rye. So I'm going to do a quick comparison here. Just so you guys know, just to be transparent, I do get these from Michter's. Michter sends me these bottles to sample and to review. So I'm very lucky in that aspect. So while these are opening up, let's get into a little bit of what's to see at the TTB, one of my favorite segments here on the Mash and Drum on Whiskey Wednesday nights. A lot to talk about. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Let's get into some of the. I'm going to actually put on some music here because we just found out that StreamYard you can actually upload your own music into it now. Finally, it's what I've been asking for, and it's happening. So here we go. So first label up. We have a lot of interesting stuff coming out. So do you guys remember this one? I showed you this 2 weeks ago. This was the straight Tennessee rye whiskey finished in high toast maple barrels. These are distiller releases that Jack Daniel's going to be doing. It looks like they're working on another one. And here we go. This is straight Tennessee rye whiskey finished in high toast oak barrels. So instead of the maple barrels, now we have just a high toast oak. So it just looks like Jack Daniel's is coming out with some toasted products. That should be kind of cool. You never know. These always seem to set up larger releases like the Coy Hill, like the Barrel Proof Rye. Another big piece of news that came out, speaking of Jack Daniel's, it looks like that they're going to be doing single barrel rye picks for different groups. So as you know, Mash and Journey Whiskey Club is already hot on that shit because we want a single barrel proof rye whiskey for Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. I'm just saying we cannot wait to get our hands on one of those. But it looks like some of these other things that they're coming out with could make its way into special releases. I feel like that's what the Tennessee Tasters turn into. But these special releases should be pretty interesting. So let's go to the next one here. I like this track. Nice and groovy. Here we go. I did not make this label up. It's literally called Good Fucking Bourbon. I gotta say, it's a great name for a whiskey. Good Fucking Bourbon whiskey. This is distilled in Virginia. Unfortunately, it's only 80 proof. I was trying to find some info on it. Here's the back of it. If you're going to call something Good Fucking Bourbon, it better be Good Fucking Bourbon. So 70, 25, and 5. So this is a 4-grain bourbon whiskey, distilled and aged and handpicked in char-toasted oak barrels, cut with purest Shenandoah Valley Blue Ridge limestone water, and bottled at 80 proof. Ultra smooth for drinking neat on the rocks, or as the star ingredient of a good Manhattan. So I don't know who's making that shit or where it's coming from, but it's supposed to be Good Fucking Bourbon. Excuse me. That kind of makes me laugh. So let's see what you guys are saying. Wow. Buying that. Eddie D, big time agreement on the M10 rye versus the bourbon. The rye's hands down a better sipper. Couldn't agree with you more, Eddie. Yeah, ultra smooth, it says. Ultra smooth. All right, Blue Note. Blue Note coming out with another collab. Remember, they did a French oak finish. Next up for them is this Argentine Andes collab, which is a French oak finish. But if you read the back here, Jean-Claude Béraud, widely considered one of the most renowned French winemakers of the last 50 years, found a new winemaking paradise in Argentina. There he handcrafted Los Notes wine, Aged in the finest French oak barrels in collaboration with Blue Note, these barrels have voyaged across the ocean, where over several seasons our award-winning Blue Note bourbon has blended with French oak to create this special release. Now, interesting enough, it doesn't say wine finish; it just says French oak. So I'm wondering if we're going to get any, or if these were used barrels, if these are new barrels, if we're going to get any of that wine influence in the Blue Note. Blue Note, as you know, when it comes to like the Juke Joint and some of their younger stuff, that's all being distilled by Green River Distilling right now. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays together. Another finish coming out from Chicken Cock, the Chanticleer, it's called. When it looks like Chicken Cock is bringing out a cognac barrel finished at 112 proof, a nice proof point on it. Finishing the best French cognac barrels we could find. It's our nod to pioneering spirit, our forefathers. Yeah, so all the marketing things that you want to hear on it. The problem with Chicken Cock is the price, because that bottle will probably be north of $250. That's been my bugaboo with freaking Chicken Cock all this time. They price people out of the market. They price it to be a super premium bourbon, but with a name like Chicken Cock, I feel like it's fighting itself, and it doesn't come off that way to me. I just feel like they need to reduce prices to get people more, I guess, into their brand, because right now people see Chicken Cock and they're like, it's just too damn pricey. It really is. Nulu coming in with a high malt. So, you know, I got to give Nulu credit. They're bringing to market some different types of whiskeys, coming in with a high malt bourbon whiskey. If you look at the back here, single barrel bourbon has 49% malted barley in the mash bill. That's a lot of barley. Usually you don't see those types of barley content. I mean, the highest I've seen has been Old Elk. Greg Metz over at Old Elk, he uses somewhere in the 30s for his barley count in his whiskeys. So 49% that's high, which should mean that's going to have a very kind of smoothed out profile on that one. But got to hand it to Nulu. They're bringing different things to market, whether you like the prices or not. Most people don't. I'm excited for this one, Old Scout. Old Scout doing a double cask finish. I think this is going to kind of be the way that people are going to go now, like kind of doing things a la Foregate. We'll get into Foregate's releases soon here. But the double cask finish Old Scout, this is a 5-year-old bourbon finished in sherry and cognac casks. Now, this is something that, you know, Foregate has done before. This is something that a couple of other brands I've seen do some double cask finishing as well. So it's a trend. I think it's a trend. So distilled in Indiana. So this is just more MGP stuff that they're going to be double finishing. So let me hit the comments here, see what you guys are thinking about any of these. That'll taste similar to the 5 malt stout and mash, says Jack. Chicken Cock, it's small, but it's fierce. Penelope has a store pick with that mash bill. Let's see here. You kind of got a Darth Vader voice going on, Luke. I got a Darth Vader voice. I kind of lost my voice in when I was in Vegas. I was like talking so much and yelling, and my voice started to go. So I think it's coming back. It's a little bit low now. Can you tell me the positives of aging in sherry? Well, when it comes to bourbon, you're really just trying to pick up some of those extra fruit-forward notes in sherry. Some of the raisiny, some of the raisin, chocolate, the nutty notes. And honestly, it really depends on the sherry as well. You have Pedro Jimenez and you have Oloroso, which are kind of the two main sherries that you'll see bourbons and whiskeys being aged in. Oloroso usually has a more nuttier type of rounded type of flavor profile. It's still definitely fruit-forward. A little bit of like that brighter like cherry or raisin. Then you have the Pedro Jimenez, which is a lot sweeter, a little bit more on the sugary side, a little bit more of like a jamminess type flavor to it. So depending on what you want out of that and into those casks to impart in your bourbon, that's really what it is. But I mean, you could ask that question about any finish. What's really the benefit? You're just trying to enhance the flavors of your bourbon or complement it. Oh, my microphone is making me sound like Darth Vader. Luke, I am your father. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Interesting release. Rabbit Hole. Rabbit Hole is coming out with their 10th anniversary cast strength double barrel bourbon. They're calling it the Tennial. So it's not Centennial, but it's the Tennial. This looks like it's going to be 54.3% ABV. I really couldn't get any other information about it. It's a double barrel cast strength, so it looks like it'll be a kind of a double oak type thing. Rabbit Hole, again, is one of those companies that tend to overprice their offerings and they tend to price stuff really, really high. So historically, I would probably guess that bottle is going to go for 150 or more, I would think. Barrel craft spirits coming out now. We know Dovetail. We know the freaking Seagrass. We know all these all these special releases that they work on with these crazy blends. We got another one on the way, and this one sounds pretty good. It's called the Barrel Vantage, a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys finished in Mizunara, French, and toasted American oak. So this is a study in 3 different oak profiles being blended together. Now, Mizunara is usually pretty expensive. Anything, put in Mizunara cask tends to be a high pricey item. French oak, which we talked about, which is one of my favorite oaks, and toasted American oak. So we have a toasted, a Mizunara, and a French. And then it looks like it's dedicated to the arts of barrel selection and blending. All 3 distinct, these are all virgin oak casks that they're using in these different instances. It's bottled at cask strength, so you can experience its true flavor. So I'm trying to get more information on that because it sounds super interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that one. That sounds amazing, says Women of Whiskeys. Right after me, you guys can go watch Women of Whiskeys coming up right after me. Pom, don't watch him in the house. What is going on? He says he cannot wait for the Vantage. Let's see here. Oh man, that's hype. It sounds amazing. Yeah, I think smells like 300. I'm with you, Tim. I think it's going to be pricey, man. Yeah, Tennessee is definitely going to be on that label. That's kind of the core of what they do, though, guys. They're going to use Tennessee, they're going to use Kentucky, and they're going to use Indiana. So it is what it is. Sometimes you get a lot of it, and sometimes you get a little bit of it. Depends on the blend. Basil Hayden, Basil Hayden, the brand that will not stop coming out with different variants. It's coming out with another one. Here it is, the malted rye. Basil Hayden malted rye coming to the forefront here. Again, another 80 proof bottle that could probably be really delicious at least 100 proof. Basil Hayden will not stop. It's got more varieties than freaking Nikes. They just keep coming out with them. It's like Jordans. It's like what Jordan is coming out this week? What Basil Hayden's coming out this week? Now we have a malted rye. Now, I'll say this. I'm a huge fan of malted ryes. The New Riff malted ryes that I've tried have been fucking fantastic. But at 80 proof from Basil Hayden, I'm going to get it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to review it. I got to get real-time comments here. Let's see. Hard pass from Saucy Shane. I'm waiting for Basil Hayden. Sometimes you feel like you're not. Sometimes you want water in your whiskey. Pass on 80 proof experiments. Maybe Basil Hayden is trying to find people. Find one people will like it. You need malted water. Yeah, that's actually a good point, OS. Hard no. Basil Rant, says Jay-Z. All about the Vantage barrel spirits batting 1,000. Who is asking for new Basil Hayden? I guess they have to get it right at some point. Basil Hayden is like gremlins. Yeah, they fed them after midnight. They just keep fucking multiplying. Shit. All right. Just a couple more to go. If you're in Maryland, it looks like Sagamore's putting out a Mezcal cask-aged rye whiskey. So it'll kind of impart some nice smoky flavors into that whiskey. 93 proof. If you guys are a fan of Mezcal, if you live in Maryland, the Sagamore Spirit sound. I love what Sagamore's doing, so I feel like I should throw it up there. And then last but not least, Foregate with big announcements this week. Just a bevy of announcements for their new expressions coming out. And here they are. Look at all of them. Look at all the beauties. Look at all the gloriousness that is Foregate. So we're gonna kind of run through these here. You can also see there is a new bottle design. So the bottle in the middle, which we'll get to, which sounds like a very special bottle, is their bottle design that everyone kind of knows. But they have transitioned to a kind of a shorter, stouter bottle design for their future releases. So all the way on the left, you will see the Port Perry Perry, it's called. That is batch 21. So if you liked Ruby Rye Springs, you will enjoy batch 21. It's a 8-year Indiana rye whiskey finished on Australian tawny port casks, 112.2 proof. Will be sold in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, and Illinois, and online through Bourbon Outfitter, $200. Next to that bottle is the first of 2 Indiana foundations. That one is a batch 22, I should say, 10-year Indiana straight bourbon whiskey. That is just straight up MGP, 10-year, 108.8 proof gloriousness, $200. That was only going to be available in not as many states. You're looking at Kentucky, Indiana, Louisiana, and Illinois for that one, and through Bourbon Outfitter and Sealbox.com and Caskers, $200 for that one as well. 2 bottles over. Actually, if you go all the way to the right, that is batch 23. That's going to be called Barossa Creek. That's a blend of 6 and 7-year Kentucky straight bourbon and an 8-year Indiana straight rye. So we're looking at a Bourye, finished in Australian tawny port casks, clocking in at 121.3 proof. Those will be available everywhere. That is sold for $200. Right next to that one, so second bottle in from the right, it's batch 24, and that's called Bourbon Down Under. That is a high rye Indiana straight bourbon whiskey, 6.5 years old, finished in Australian Apera sherry casks. The underlying bourbon mash bill is 60 corn, 36 rye, and 4% malted barley. Produced at 116.6 proof. Available in Kentucky, Florida, Texas, Indiana, Louisiana, Illinois, Tennessee, and also online for $200. But the holy grail bottle in the middle, that tall one that's still using that middle, the old school bottle, Foregate located just 3 barrels of extra aged, extra high proof Indiana straight bourbon whiskey. The angel share was so great on the barrels that the team was only to produce 129 bottles of the stuff. It'll be released in Louisville, Kentucky, on location on one day in the coming weeks. It's a 14-year MGP Indiana straight bourbon, clocking in at 144.3 proof. It'll be $450 per bottle, and it's called Indiana Foundation. So that's a lot. That's a lot to go through. But I mean my God, that 14-year hazmat foundation. I mean, $450 is expensive, but you're just not going to find that much high-aged MGP anymore. So, yeah, yes, please. Yes, please. All right, let's get into the mixtures. Everybody's saying, well, damn. Well, damn. $450 for a 14-year MGP. How many more sharks are we jumping? Well, I mean, Ken, you have to realize probably the premium they paid to get those barrels. It's all relative. Glass is more, applying freaking labels is more, which is why they had to switch to a smaller bottle or a shorter bottle. It's all relative. I know for a fact they paid a shit ton of money to get those barrels, and that's reflective in the price, unfortunately. Yeah, it's bourbon they didn't make. But, I mean, you could say that about, I mean, makers didn't make this either. There's just too many representations now of bourbons that are sourced, thrown in a bottle, and upcharge for it. That's the way of whiskey right now, guys. You can't always, yeah, it's easy to complain, but if someone put that 14-year hazmat in front of you, probably be pretty hard to say no to it. Yeah, and this Michter's 10 rye is such a candied rye. It's like you took a sugar covered mint leaf, dipped it in caramel, and then just ate it. That's what it tastes like. It's just mint and sugary sweetness, like powdered sugar, dipped in caramel. Got some oak in there, a little bit of chocolate too. Maybe the slightest hint of like a licorice, but it's not strong at all. Yeah, people are paying $800 for a Weller single barrel, for Christ's sake. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love the guys that are, they complain that, it's like, I'm not going to pay $450 for someone else's whiskey, but you're willing to pay $800 for a 6, 7, 8 year Weller single barrel because it's Weller from Buffalo Trace, when you know it's not going to be up to that quality of that bottle. I mean, you kind of have to weigh what you think is worth it to you. It's all relative. Again, it's very subjective to what you think the value is. Is it in? Some people do feel strongly and passionate about, I'm only going to buy stuff that I know it's coming from a distillery that is making it. And I totally get it. I totally can get on board with that too. You want to support the guys that are going grain to glass. It's a thing. I get it. Master Drum, Michter's 10-year rye or Michter's barrel strength rye? Maybe I'm in the minority, but I don't get the hazmat hype. Yeah, I don't really get it either, Kenneth. A lot of hazmat stuff that I've had, can be really rough to drink. But I think hazmat is now used more as a marketing type thing. It's a way that folks not only sell bottles. I mean, look at Jack Daniels. They went all in on that Coy Hill. Saying it's the highest proofs ever, which drove up secondary market value on it. It's just one of those things. That's the thing. No, not willing to pay that much for either situation, not in the budget, and kind of don't want it to be. Yeah. Whiskey Mountains, I mean, yeah, it's got to be in the budget. No, not willing to pay that much for either situation, not in the budget, and kind of don't want it to be. I mean, yeah, everybody wishes it was cheaper, but interesting. Wow, the one from last year is actually more minty, more chocolatey. Oh yeah, I like the 2022 better. It's just more layered in flavors here. My max is $250 for any bottle, and that's just me. Yeah. I think it's important to have a threshold. I mean, and I've said this before, if I didn't do reviews, I would probably solely focus my interest on barrel picks because they're unique. They're primarily usually barrel proof. They're all really good, depending on who's picking it. And, they're all unique. So I'd rather kind of put my money in that type of pool rather than try to chase down all these, limited releases that seem to come out every other day. But, I do reviews. That's kind of my thing. So I try to hunt down these bottles as much, and it's beginning to be more and more of a pain in the ass each and every year. Yeah, but the M10 rye versus the barrel strength rye, it's a different animal because the barrel strength rye is definitely younger whiskey. It's just going to have more flavor to folks because of the higher proof. But I think what the barrel proof rye gives you is much more of a punch of flavor, whereas the Michter's 10-year, I think it's a little bit more layered. This is probably one of the spiciest Michter's 10 years I've had. It drinks, I think, higher than its proof. The proof on this one is only 92.8, but it's drinking more like 98 to 104-ish because of the spice that it has. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Again, problem with prices on the Michter's, again, we're talking about $160 to $180 bottle. It's just that all this shit is just getting more and more expensive, but it's the demand. It is what it is. Let's see here. Right there with you on the barrel picks. The Master Drum Barrel Proof versus 10. This is the perfect why not both moment. Why not both moment? I mean, I could do a quick double bass here. Let me this is the new one. Let me get the old one. Let me pour the old one out. I'll grab it. Yeah, while I'm going to get it, why don't you guys hit that like button real quick? And we're back. Okay, let's pour a little Michter's Barrel Strength Rye. This is last year's. This is the 2021. Oh, I spilled a little bit. I'm freaking mess tonight. I'm off my game because I was away for a week. I didn't pour anything except shitty Bullet. Yeah, I gotta ask this though. I was in my room. I was like sipping Bullet, and I couldn't remember the last time I actually sat down and just drank Bullet straight. It's like, remember, Bullet is the #1 sold bourbon in the world. Bullet, or at least the United States. It's Bullet. The world might be actually Jack Daniels, but it actually might be Bullet. I can't remember the stats that came out last year. But it's one of the at least the top 1 or top 2 bourbon sold each and every year, and I think a lot of that is driven by the cocktail market, obviously, but a lot of it also is driven by just people loving it. It got like a bump in popularity from the show Yellowstone because they were drinking Bullet. But I was sipping it, and I was like, man, I can't remember the last time I actually drank this neat. And it's not that it wasn't really my profile, but I don't remember it being so like nutty. Like you could have fooled me saying that was a Jim Beam product. It was giving me like a lot of like peanut almond type of flavors to it. It had it's got some rye to it, had a little bit of spice, but I could see why it works well in a cocktail because of that spice. But honestly, in the chat, when's the last time you guys like actually sat down with a bottle of Bullet and drank it? And I think, Whiskey Enthusiasts, we just walk right by it. We don't give it any really kind of unless it's a pick, we don't really give it any kind of due time. So, OH says, I'm sipping Bullet right now in Ireland. Yeah, their history is tough too. Their history with their owner is rough. But it still sells like hotcakes. Hey, what's up, Ryan Cecil? What's going on, Ryan Cecil, right here from Bourbon Pursuit? Also working with Dan on a BBC collaboration that will be released end of year. Ryan is dropping nuggets. Bullet is crap. Their rye is okay neat, but complete crap in my opinion. Bullet is gross. It's rough. I'm in the spirits business, and it's definitely getting out of control. Yeah, it definitely is. A little Malort to cleanse the palate. Ryan Cecil, what is going on, man? Appreciate it. Appreciate you jumping in. Never says 100% pure mustard. If I'm in a bar that has a limited selection, they usually have Bullet. Yeah, Bullet's everywhere. That's kind of the point. Yeah, just Bullet picks for me, which isn't the regular Bullet though. The Bullet picks are something else. I don't buy Bullet for reasons. That said, if it brought to the house to the gift, I won't drain pour it. Man, Bullet got me into the game. I can't hate on it. I mean, does Blender Select even exist anymore? I think their blender sued them and they dropped it. Yeah, that's basically what happened. Ebony, she had left, and yeah. That Blender Select was probably one of the best things that ever came out of Bullet that I got to try. So it really sucks that happened. But yeah, she sued him and left, and I'm sure she's going to be doing something else soon. I still boycott Bullet. Yeah, okay, so people are still hanging on to the kind of that, the bad press that they got. I get it. Dan Like says Bullet isn't bad, honestly. I mean, yeah, it's not terrible, but it's just something I never reach for because I just think there's better stuff. But all right, here we go, guys. M10 versus barrel proof rye. Oh man, this on the nose is pure candy. This is why people like this more usually. It's pure candy. The M10 gives you more of the aged oakier notes. Again, the mint chocolate, some of that charred oak there. But this is just all candy in a glass right now. This is like, and it's interesting to get like creme brulee on a rye, but you get it in this one. All right, let me try it. You get all the sweet up front. It's like cream soda. It's savory. Also got like a little bit of like a cardamom, cinnamon type thing going on in it. And then, but then on the back end, it's all like just like harsher rye spice. Now we go to the M10. It's not nearly as sweet. It's more oaky. It's definitely more tame. Chocolatey, minty, and I'm actually getting like kind of like a chocolate covered like orange rind thing going on in the Michter's 10. Also that mint, a little bit of licorice too on the back end of it. It's just it's two different animals. I can't say which one I would like. It's kind of like a mood thing, I guess. Like I would probably reach for this more often than not over this. This like for me because of the layered flavor to it. And because it's a little bit of a lower proof, I feel like I would like to be more in the mood to drink this. Whereas this barrel proof rye I'd probably reach to more often just because of the flavor punch it has. So, but yeah, I mean, good stuff. Yeah, Ryan, Bourbon Pursuit. I know they started bottling their Bourbon Pursuit rye. Ryan, when is that going to be coming out? Because I think your rye, the bourbon blends are great, but that Pursuit United rye, when it came out, I thought was one of the better ryes I'd had all year. So that'll definitely be in my top this year, I think, as far as ryes go. So when is more ryes coming out, Ryan? Tell me. Mark Mace with another super chat coming in. Good stuff tonight. Grateful for what you share and do. Appreciate you, Mark. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to blend that too. I'm just making blends tonight, baby. Hey, we have Whiskey Row in the house. Another great channel. What's going on, David? Oh, man. Guys, the blend smells fantastic. Let's try it real quick. Pretty nice. That is pretty nice. I might make a whole bottle of that. I don't know if anyone's done it before. Has anyone in the chat blended Michter's 10-year and the Michter's barrel strength rye? Because it's fucking epic. That's a delicious rye. I think it gives the M10 the flavor punch it needs, and the M10 gives it the depth of flavor that the barrel strike needs. Shit, I'm going to keep that right there because I'm going to finish that later. Damn, that's good. It did just become Blendageddon. Master Drum, that Michter's Barrel Proof Rye was a giveaway on your stream last week. Great bottle. Yeah. Oh, you gave away a bottle? Yeah, it's so good, Dan. I'm right there with you, man. And this one is special. Michter's was my inspiration, says Ryan. He says it's going to be hitting stores in 2 weeks. Damn. Ryan, is that going to be hitting on, I would imagine it's going to hit Sealbox again, I hope. Because if Michter's was your inspiration, then I'm definitely getting probably a couple of those. Shit. That's right. Setting the standards for Blendageddon. Dan and Julie, I hope you guys have a blend getting in. Master Drum, did you hear Pursuit United will be coming to Ohio, at least Toledo only, is only 45 minutes for me. Yeah, I hope so. If I did not hear that it's going to be in Ohio, but that's fucking awesome. Congrats. Now I can just go and buy it when I want. William Dowell, I hope you had a great trip. Details on Blendageddon. Well, I'm glad you asked that, because if you guys missed the trailer 2 weeks ago for Blendageddon, I'm going to play it again while I set up my E.H. Taylor Ultimate Blind Tasting here. Here comes the, let's see, do I still have it on here? I think I do. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me shut off the music. And you guys can watch the trailer for Blendageddon. Ryan Cecil, if you want to get in on this, go for it. Here are the details. Blendageddon 2022. We have a top 6 that are left.
And you haven't told us anything about these blends. We don't know.
I actually
don't know anything about them.
It actually shifts gears towards the back end and finishes really nice.
If they were able to successfully blend out the banana note that is over dominating in some of those Jack products, then I would say whoever blended this has an excellent skill set. Jason, do you smell a little bit of a dusty in there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's got like a dusty funk on it. I've been calling that from the beginning.
I'm about out of it too, and by about I mean I'm out of it.
It is down to Todd Ritter with his blend named Heaven and Hill, and William Davalar with My Own Private Idaho, which means the winner of Blendageddon 2021 is Todd Ritter with Heaven and Hill.
Congratulations.
Let's give him a big round. Congrats, guys. Todd Ritter.
Now, what's the blend? We all want to make it.
I know, we got it. Well, let's... Oh man, tell me that trailer does not. You got like you want to run through a wall right now and blend something, don't you? I love making that trailer every year. So yeah, so those are the details for Blendageddon. I'm actually going to be setting up a PO box to get all the blends sent to me. So I'll give those details as soon as I get that set up in the next couple weeks. Also, again, some of the details that you guys might have not seen or seen, going to be two different categories. Obviously, American whiskey blends, so bourbon blends, rye blends, bourbon and rye blends. As long as it's American whiskey, you could put it in your blend. That'll be kind of that's kind of like the headliner. That's the headliner category. That's the category that Todd Ritter won last year. With his Heaven and Hill blend, which he put a little bit of a dusty spin on it, which Fred and I and ADHD also we all picked up on it and ended up being the winner. The next category though will be the Frankenstein blends. So the Frankenstein blends, I decided to kind of get rid of the world whiskey blends because I just wasn't getting enough of entries in that category. So the Frankenstein blends can be pretty much anything you want to add to it as long as it's considered a whiskey. I will allow rum. People are asking me, can we put rum in it? I'll allow rum. But anything that's like a liqueur, vodka, wine, anything like that cannot go in it. Anything flavored cannot go in the blend. It's got to be, it could be Irish whiskeys, it could be Scotch, it could be Indian whiskeys, Japanese whiskeys, rum. As long as it qualifies as a whiskey, don't get too crazy with anything in the Frankenstein blends, but you'll have an open palette to use whatever you want to make something unique in order to win that category. So, and also, as you saw, it's not just going to be me this year, guys. It's going to be multiple judges. So each week I'll have a new judge come on that's going to help out in picking these. I just feel like a lot of these blends deserve more palettes than just mine. So I want to give everyone their due chance and get some different palettes to try some of these blends. So I'll be asking for you guys to make multiple samples so I could ship them to different judges each and every week. I got Scott coming on, the Bourbon Junkies. I got who else? Fred Minnick and ADHD Whiskey will be back for the final. We'll do the same thing. We'll do a huge bottle giveaway, and we'll raise some money for St. Jude again at the end of the year when we get into the finals. And it should be a hell of a year. So get blending. More details coming soon. And yeah, we'll get going. Top Shelf Dustin. Yeah, Armagnac you can use. You can use Armagnac in a Frankenstein blend as well. Tequila, no, I would probably stay away from the tequila. Yeah, I might get if the Bourbon Pursuit guys want, I might get Ryan in there. Unless Ryan is submitting a blend, then I don't know if he could exactly be a judge. But we'll see how it goes. You can enter at just one per category. So you can't do two different blends in the same category. Stick to one. Now, if you want to do one for the American whiskey blends and one for Frankenstein blend, you can do that. But you can't do multiple entries in one this year because I'm just anticipating a shit ton of more entries. So I don't want to be dealing with, different blends from one person. The Bourbon Wrench is coming in. What's going on? What is up, buddy? That is Nighthawk right there. What's going on, Trev? He says this year he's finally submitting his Jephthah blend. Oh my God. Yeah, I'll probably need about 4 2-ounce samples. So if your blend moves on to the next round, I'll just need some multiples. But if you guys are planning on working on a blend, make sure you have a good amount. So if you make it to the subsequent rounds, you have enough to back it up. So yeah, that's Blendageddon. I know William Davalar is looking to come after Todd Ritter. He got second place. I know that blend he did last year, My Own Private Idaho, was delicious. I'm trying to remember exactly what's in it. Ryan Cecil says, I'm scared to submit. I'd rather judge. Hey, if you want to judge, man, you're in. I'll definitely get you in there. All right. So let's get into this. To this amazing, just freaking hitter of a lineup here, submitted or sent to me, I should say, by Dan and Julie Like. They sent me just some epic We got in this conversation with them on their live stream when I was on theirs, and we were freaking bottle chugging King Kentucky. It's one of the greatest nights ever. And we were kind of getting into what we enjoyed most, out of the Colonel Taylor special releases that we've had. 4 grain tends to be the consummate favorite, and maybe because that's one is a little bit more easier to find, like in bars, or if you go to specialty whiskey bars, you could sometimes find 4 grain to try. Amaranth of the Gods is in this mix. You have Tornado C, the Tornado Survivor, which I've only ever had once. And it's in this blind. Also in this blind is the Seasoned Wood, which I don't think I've ever had. So that's going to be in the mix as well. And then I threw in, just for shits and giggles, I just threw in a regular Colonel Taylor single barrel, just to see how it would do against these special releases. So just some really, really cool, the generosity of Dan and Julie sending these, being that they're so rare and hard to find, is pretty incredible. So I'm going to give them a nice little whiskey cheers because both of them are incredible people. Thank you for sharing. Let's get into this shit because I can't wait. So these were poured blind, and my girlfriend said she put the answers in the Colonel Taylor canister. So we'll dive in there to get the answers later. So here we go. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for checking in, man. No, you're definitely going to be in for judging, Ryan. The Wolf of Bourbon Street's going to be working on a Basil Hayden blend. I appreciate you, man. All right, first one up. Here we go. Ooh. The nose on this is great so far. This is like cherry Swedish fish. Like those Swedish fish candies. Which is a note I tend to get in Colonel Taylor, but it's like more pronounced. A lot of sweet oak on this, which is something I really can't say I've gotten in a lot of... You get sweet oak in Colonel Taylor's, but generally they're not that old, so you don't really get like a big oak presence. This has it. This has a little bit more of an oak presence to it. A little bit of grape too. A little nice little like grapey note. Joseph Breza says, really looking forward to next year's EHT. We left the door back open match. Yeah. All right. The nose on the first one is really, really good. So let me go back here. Thank you, Joseph Brazzers, for the super chat. Let's go to number 2. Wow, number 2 is really light and tame coming off of number 1. I'm not getting a lot of this. Everyday Drinker, what's going on, man? Nice to see you, buddy. E will win off color alone. We'll see. Let me get back to this groovy song here. All right, this one's getting a little bit better on the nose. I still think A, from a nose standpoint, kind of kills this one. This one's a little bit more subdued. I'm getting like candy apple on the nose on this one. Again, some of that cherry that you normally get from a Taylor. But it's really subdued compared to what I'm getting in the first class here. All right, number 3 here. Oh, number 3 has a beautiful nose here. I think they should bottle regular E.H. Taylor in a tube that says rare and limited and watch people lose their mind. Oh, the nose on this one. This might have the best nose from the ones that I've smelled so far. Extremely fruit forward. Very, like a ton of, like this is all vanilla extract. It's not even, you can't even like get away from it. It's sweeter too. A little bit of like a maple syrup note. Man. Now I'm gonna have to go back through these. This is also, the first one's also giving me like a little bit of like a dusty funk to it, which I kind of dig. Quentin King coming in, still trying to figure out a way to send my blend sample in, brother. Love the lineup tonight. Cheers while I sip on some Wild Turkey 101. Yeah, I'll get all those directions to you. Also, the prizes I'm working on are going to be pretty epic this year, so we'll get through we'll go through those as it happens. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4 is actually coming off pretty tame as well, compared to 1 and 3. I mean, it's all Taylor. This one might be a little bit more cinnamon forward than the others. A little bit more oak. Yeah, it'll be curious to see like what, you know, which of these special releases that people have priced like, you know, in the thousands of dollars range actually end up being worth it. So, all right, let's go to the 1, 2, 3, the 5th one here. Oh, the fifth one. Great nose on number 5. Smells, it's on par with 1 and 3 here. Looks like 1, 3, and 5, the 3 odd numbers are actually coming across with the best nose. Until we get to the last one here, we'll see what happens. Great job on the DMD, and thanks for being my top go-to bourbon guy. Oh, you're very welcome, Eric. Yeah, if you guys missed Dungeons and Drams last night, it's another channel that I get to do with Bill from Whiskey Dictionary, Ed from Rock Up Review, Cliff from Bourbon Bites. It's literally just online Dungeons and Dragons, and I pretty much got killed last night. I got saved, but I was pretty much dead for at least 10 minutes. I made a poor decision. That's D&D. Great nose on number 5 here. All right, last one. Oh, wow. Oh, that one's very different. Chris says, to me, no whiskey is worth a few Benjis. You know, that's a great motto to live by, because, you know, just me being a whiskey enthusiast and doing reviews, like I'll drop a ton of money on a whiskey just so I can do a review or to own it. And man, it's like I wish I would take that take that advice every now and again. Sometimes I do, but I get into modes where it's just like I haven't bought a whiskey in a while. I'm just gonna buy something crazy. So he did. He said, grab the barrels and get on the boat. And I did not get on the boat. So, yeah, this one is probably the most unique. It's a little bit off profile from what I'm getting here in the others. So, yeah, if I have to give it to the noses, 1, 3, and 5 probably have the best noses. But that doesn't always mean it's going to translate to the palate. So, let me just write down a couple notes here. I'll call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'll kind of put check marks next to the noses here that I love. All right, it's time to taste these. Let's go all in, baby. Colonel Taylor's. Here we go. First one, which I really love the nose. Ooh, that one's got some depth to it. A little bit more flavor. That cherry is coming through. Remember, guys, these are all 100 proof. They're not cask strength. I would have loved to put the barrel proof in here, but it probably would have stood out. But yeah, all these are 100 proof, so there's nothing really that's gonna differentiate it proof wise. It's all about the flavors and what they did to it to make it, a special release. That first one is so far really good on the palate and good on the nose. I'm getting cinnamon. I actually got a little bit of a coffee note on that one. And you guys know me in coffee. If I get a coffee note, I'm in. Shit, that's good. It's really good. Nice finish on it. Again, it's a little bit like cherry grapey, but there's some spiky, finishy, like a Pop Rocks, like that woodiness you get, some nice tannins and oak, just kind of just tingling the back of the on the palate. It's also kind of hanging out here too, right on the sides of the palate, which is something I don't normally get in a Taylor. So for me to kind of taste this, it's unique. It definitely would stand out. It definitely is standing out to me from other Taylors I've had. All right, number 1 is good oak spice. I'm digging number 1. All right, let's go to number 2 here. All right, let's see how now this one, the nose on this one was a little bit tame. Let's see how it is on the palate. I mean, that one's okay. It tastes like Eagle Rare. This one has like a medicinal Dimetap, like cough medicine thing going on. Grapey, medicinal, a little bit spicy. It's definitely not as layered as the first one. But yeah, it's got like a... Honestly, it tastes like a couple of Eagle Rare picks I've had. Say mash bill. Could it be the regular single? But remember, I threw the regular single barrel in here just to throw a monkey in the wrench, just to see what would happen. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, this one's okay. It's not doing it for me like the first one. So I'm just gonna write, yeah, it tastes like an Eagle Rare store pick. All right, water time. All right, we're going to the third one here. Now, the third one, I really like the nose on it. I'd pay up for Stag Hazmat. There, I said it. All right, guys, in the chat, a lot of you guys have your cutoff, 250, 200. I'm not paying over 300 for this. I'm not paying for 200 for this. If there was one bottle you would break your rule for, there's one bottle that you would break your rule for. It could be something modern. It could be a Dusty. It could be a release that released 10 years ago. What would you break the bank? What would you break your rule for to acquire if you could have one bottle? Let me know in the chat. We'll highlight some answers while I taste these. I'm just curious because there's always one bottle someone's willing to overpay for. I just want to know what it is because I know it's there. So far, a ton of William LaRue Wellers. Number 3 isn't really... Number 3's... I mean, do I like number 3 over number 2? I might. Let's see here. So we have a lot of William LaRue Weller. Ben Hernandez. I know you're kidding, dude. Yeah, that's not right. King of Kentucky at 350 he would get. William LaRue Weller, King of Kentucky. GTS or an Elijah Craig Pirate Bottle. Okay. Birth year 101, 8-year turkey, or cheesy gold foil. There you go. 200 is my max on something nice for now. Jack Daniel Heritage. Okay, interesting. ER17 or a Springbank 25 from William Davilar. The Springback 25, I'm telling you right now, William, is a better buy than that ER17. 96 millimeter says the Pappy lineup. Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. William LaRue Weller and King of Kentucky and the Elijah Craig Pirate bottles are ones that I would pay up for sure. And anything Dusty Turkey. Those are kind of like my weak points right there. 1792 port finish, says Jeb. That's one you don't hear a lot about. Daniel has no... Yeah, you definitely have no rules, buddy. Ben. Wild Turkey Beyond Duplication, 12-year. Nice. Okay. I probably paid good for a... Oh, that's a great call-out. An Old Crow Chessman. I'd overpay for one of those. Heaven Hill 17 might make the list. That's a freaking delicious bourbon. Those old ERs 101 proof are tempting. Yeah, for sure. 2012 birthday bourbon, says Richie Z. I'd love to revisit that bottle. Yeah, sometimes it's a bottle that you've had in the past, but you haven't had in a while. The third one's okay. I feel like 1 and 2 have a little bit more depth of flavor than number 3, but number 3 is still very good, very solid. Not far off from number 2. I mean, these two are pretty close, actually. All right, let's go to number 4 here. Number 4 tastes older. There's like a star anise like type thing going on, like a fennel seed I'm getting to go along with the cherry, the grape, the oak. There's something very different going on in number 4 here. Number 4 has more spice too than the other ones I've been drinking. Well, right on par with number 1. Longer finish. I'm digging number 4. Number 4 is nice. I think the leaders in my clubhouse so far we're looking at are 1 and 4 so far. These two seem to have the most depth of flavor and are coming through with way more interesting flavors so far over 2 and 3 here. All right, let's go to number 5. See what we get. Yeah, so another question for you guys. If there's a bottle that you had, say you had this bottle like 2-3 years ago, and you had a chance to get it again, what would that be? So very much like Richie Z's, you know, he wants that 2012 bottle of birthday bourbon. Is there a bottle in the past that you had that you hate that it's gone right now? Because I probably have a couple. Because it's not as easy to hunt down bottles that you had in the past anymore, because usually they're all snatched up, unfortunately. Batch 12 Stag Junior. Yeah. Rock Hill Farms. Alan P. with the William Heaven Hill 12-year barrel proof. Okay. C919. Dan says it's whiskey time. We're almost out of Michter's 25, so that's soon, plus just a couple of sips. Oh, shit. Stuff and whiskey's in the house. What's going on? Josh and Aaron are here. What is going on? You two beautiful people. Nice. Thanks for dropping in. New Riff Malted Rye. Robot Scott says Old Carter Batch 9. Okay. Oh, the Country Ham Bookers. Who misses that bottle? The last great Bookers. The last great Bookers bottle. That Country Ham was fucking killer. Ooh. Ooh. Number 5's got a lot of different sweet like flavors going on. It's going from like cotton candy to strawberry to cherry to grape. A little bit of oak, a lot of vanilla too, caramel. This one's got a lot of shit going on number 5 here. But it lacks the finish that I'm getting on 1 and 3. I love the front of the palate on this one, but 1 and 3 has a better overall experience, I think, from front to back. Honestly, the NBC Houdini loves about off the hook bourbon. Mark Mace, man, I'm glad everyone's loving the Houdinis. I think it's definitely, if that was a regular release, that would be a top bourbon for a lot of people. Honestly, it's so damn good. Stuff and whiskey, cheers, Jason. Can't wait to see the results on this flight. Yeah, me too. I have no idea what I'm drinking right now. We'll see what happens. Booker's Rye would be my number 1. If there was a bottle I could go back to and get again, I never had a bottle, but I had enough samples that I wanted a bottle so bad, and it would definitely be Booker's Rye. Booker's Rye is easily the top of my list. It was a bottle that, like, by the time I got into whiskey, it was late in the game, and I didn't realize what it was, and now it's just gone, and guys that are selling it are selling it for a shit ton of money. So, yeah. Yeah, still dream about the Country Ham Bookers. Yeah, Karen, I'm right with you. So yeah, this one's really good, number 5. It just doesn't have the finish I want, but the front of the palate is amazing. Just sweet and takes you through all these like ebbs and flows, and then it kind of ends with I'll take one more sip. It just ends a little flat. Yeah, but the front of the palate is killer on that one. But you can't win on front of the palate alone. It's got to be everything. All right, last one. Let's see what we got here on this one. Here we go. The ham, yes, the country ham and the beaten biscuits. When you blended those two Bookers together, that shit made a hell of a whiskey. Maybe a little bit of a blend again and hint for everybody out there. If you have country ham and beaten biscuits, those two Bookers, if you blend those things together, it makes a killer blend. All right, last one here. Let's try it. Oh, that one came off like with a dusty funk. What the hell is that one? That one tastes and smells unlike all of these. So that was weird on the palate. This last one is coming out like a dusty bourbon. Butterscotch, like almost like a dirty funk to it. Since it's so different, I'm wondering if that's the Grain of the Gods. Now, the last time I had Grain of the Gods was, man, Bastard's Ball, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Somebody brought that bottle. I got to taste it, and wow. It's funky. It's rich. But is it funky in a good way? I mean, that's probably up for debate. But it definitely has like a funky, if you've had like a dusty turkey or a dusty like an old granddad, it's got some of that going on in the bottle. Or in the glass, I should say. It's just there's something, it's got a dusty funk on it. All right. I'm going to start kind of picking my top here. I really like this one, whatever it is, just for the uniqueness of it. I love the dusty funk on it. I think it's great. This one, the front of the palate was killer, but it just lacked a finish. This one I really liked. These two were kind of meh. They were all right. And then number one was a standout as well. So let me try to, if there had to be like a bottom three, I don't know, maybe. These four are all good in their own right, but just there's little nuances that make it better than others. Dan L says, I have a 1971 OGD. Dan, the OGDs are from the 70s and 80s are some of the best whiskeys you'll ever drink. The fact you have a one from 71, dude, that's epic shit. The oldest one I have is from 81. So 10 years later than the one you got. All right, let's go through my top real quick here. So it's really nice. It just has everything you would expect from a good Taylor. The sweet, the spice. If all Taylors had a finish like that, I'd be all in. Unfortunately, as we see in this lineup, not all of them have that type of finish. Some are a little bit more sweet forward. But man, this is probably one of the more rounded from front to back experiences on a Colonel Taylor I've had, whatever number one is. Let's go to number three. I'm sorry, number four. Number four and number one are fucking close. This one just has a really great texture to it. It's also got a little bit of like a dusty note to it, but not like the last one here. The last one, like it literally tastes like it came from the 80s or the 70s. Whereas this one just has like a little hint of like a barrel funk to it. But on top of that, got great spice, great sweetness. I'm trying to break these down as much as I can for you guys because they're similar but different in specific ways. The two closest ones here are number two and number three. These are probably the closest in profile. The rest have a little bit of standouts. This one just completely falls flat compared to the other ones. So this one will definitely be towards the bottom. I actually like this one a little bit more than that one. So I'll probably I'm going to keep that in order there. That second one might be my last place. Man, it's going to come down to these 4 now. I think this one will end up being, I don't know, it's between these 2. I love the front of the palate on whatever this one is. It just explodes with sweetness. It's so much flavor going on. But it just lacks a little bit of a finish. I gave my groomsmen OGDs back in 1985 when we got married. Then we all got together and drank them at the bash. Larry, that's the best idea ever. If I ever get married, that's what I'm doing. If I ever get married. Everyone always asks me, you guys getting married? You getting married? I don't think we're there yet, but I think, I'd want to get married, but we'll see what happens. I was watching the when I played the trailer last week for Blendageddon, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, and I was like, I got a surprise for everybody before I played the trailer. I think it was Adriana from Whiskey Mountains who wrote in the chat. She's like, I thought he was going to say that he got engaged. I was like, no, not engaged. Jason is married to his whiskey. Let's see here. Master Drum, what's the best EH Taylor in your opinion? I've never had it and want to know what to look for. Honestly, if you can't get any of the special releases, I think the barrel proof is the way to go. The barrel proof is always phenomenal. So, JG, was it you? Did you ask if it was? I think these are gonna be my top 2. These 2 are fighting for 3rd here, or fighting for 3rd and 4th. The Master Drum says marriage is freedom. Always waiting to see how the engagement happens. I probably did say that. Yeah, I think you did say it. You know what? I just love the funk on this. But that's my palate. I just like how different it is. I love the sweetness on this one. I love the funk on that one. I mean, these are both like 3rd place. It's like 3A and 3B. I mean, I'm not going to give it a 4th place because both of these are both fantastic, but just in different ways. They're completely different. This one is all sweetness up front, but it's got like layers of sweet going on, but it lacks a little bit of a finish. Whereas this one is probably the most different out of all of them. Like I said, it tastes like a dusty bourbon, which I love. I mean, it's buttery, it's funky, I'm going to put that one in 3rd. And then these 2 are fighting for the top spot. So let's see what happens here. I don't know which one's going to win, but it'll be interesting. They're so close. You know what's the standout on these 2? They have a finish. Most Colonel Taylors don't have a finish. These 2 do. These 2 are hanging on with some really depth of spice and flavor. Oh man, it's close. It is so close. This one might have a little bit more just balance and punch of flavor going on. I love the roundness, though, of this one, too. This one's tough. They're both equally pretty good. I mean, if these are both the special, imagine one of these is the single barrel. But if if both of these are special releases, this I could see, not paying an insane amount of money for, but getting upcharged a little bit because this is different than regular Colonel Taylor's. Last sip. I got to go with this one, I think, for number one. This one, every time I sip this, I get something different. It's kind of taking me through like a little bit of a ride here. I'm going with that one. All right, so here's my lineup. Let's bring these over here. This is number 2, and this is number 1. All right. This ought to be good. Again, thanks to Dan and Julie Like for doing this for me. Before I reveal everything, guys, please make sure you hit the like button before we end the stream. And again, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet. Or if you know a whiskey enthusiast that loves reviews, have them subscribe. Like I said, I'm this close to 70,000 subs. Getting so close. All right. Apparently the answers are in the old Colonel Taylor single barrel canister. Let's see what we got. And there it is. Master Drum, remember, uses amaranth grain mash bill, so I wonder if that's the unique one you mentioned. Dan, that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if that amaranth is that funky one. So if it's a standout, then I actually really like it. So we'll see. Hope single barrel placed high to make it interesting. All right. So here are the results. What did she write here? Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got. Last place. This one just fell flat the entire time. This was letter A. Ah, shit. This is last year's. Where is it? Last year's E.H. Taylor Warehouse C. So the turquoisey one that that was being sold for like $4,000. Last place. It wasn't even close. That makes me so proud. That single barrel in here actually took out the Warehouse C. So whoever single barrel is, it took out Warehouse C. Just saying. So, yeah. Jason doing the EHT array. Meanwhile, I can't find the small batch around me outside secondary. Warehouse C is where it comes from. I'm so happy. Yeah. Dan L says, no surprise with your last place. Yeah, Warehouse C is just flat. There's just not a lot going on in it. It tastes like a regular E.H. Taylor. So the fact that they released this, I just feel like was a big middle finger to everybody. All right, second to last place. Let's see what we got. This is letter B. I thought it would do better. Letter B is actually the standard single barrel. But if it makes you guys feel better, the standard single barrel took out Warehouse C. So Warehouse C is bullshit. All right, so that means, all right, Warehouse C is gone. Single barrel's gone. So that means in the top 4, we have Tornado, Seasoned Wood, 4 Grain, and Amaranth Grain of the Gods. All right. I'm not mad that the single barrel took out the Warehouse C. I was saying that for a long time. The Warehouse C is just a glorified single barrel with or a small batch with a freaking turquoise text on it. But here we go. Now we're getting into it. So this one I really love. So these two could have been really third place back and forth. They're just so completely different. This one had all the sweet up front, lacked a little bit of the finish, but the flavors up front are insane. This one is the funky one, which I was guessing could be the amaranth. I just don't know which one this third one is. So let's see what it is. So this is holy shit. And then this. Oh, okay. Interesting. This one the one with the flavor monster punch up front, but lacked a little bit of the finish. That is the E.H. Taylor 4-grain. So 4-grain, I thought might be my top one, and it actually was kind of in the middle of the pack here. The 4-grain's delicious. But when you're honestly, when you're trying to compare, you're going front to back, it's just not, it's just not there. It's just, there's nothing kind of that you're hanging on to. So 4-grain right here. Let's call 4-grain, and then this one third place. This one, the weird funky one, the one that tastes like a Dusty, is the Tornado. The Tornado comes in right in that third one. So the top two, Seasoned Wood and Amaranth Grain of the Gods. Wow. That blows me away. Okay. I really thought 4-grain would do better. And I did not expect the Tornado to have that type of a dusty funk on it. That's crazy. Yeah, I totally see what you're saying, Dustin. I had it at Bastard's Ball when I was drinking a bunch of stuff, and it just didn't really do anything. But in this blind, I think that Amaranth Grain of the Gods is standing out. Wow. It blew in the dust, apparently. Yeah, it's got a dusty note to it. Now, I mean, I know it was an older release, but I might be going with what Dan was saying when we were doing the live, and Dan was saying, have you tried Seasoned Wood? And I'm like, I don't think I had. He's like, don't sleep on Seasoned Wood, and now it's in the top two. So that means Seasoned Wood and Amaranth are in number one, number two. Let's see what we got here. F and D. The winning Colonel Taylor for me, and the top two, as you guys knew, were very, very close. Amaranth Grain of the Gods, second place. First place, fucking Seasoned Wood. Wow. Seasoned Wood gets number one for me. And honestly, it's the first time I've had Seasoned Wood. So, and it definitely, Amaranth of the Gods and Seasoned Wood are two that give, it's what I want a Colonel Taylor to have. Front to back. Let's see here. Yeah, Julie L. Seasoned Wood is phenomenal. It's so good. Yeah. So I would have to get a sample of the 18-year marriage and put it up against, the Seasoned Wood and Amaranth of the Gods to kind of find like my favorite, because Seasoned Wood and Amaranth of the Gods really stood out against these others. Now, Tornado C, I think, is just a different animal because it has like that funky, like a dusty note to it, like an old Buffalo Trace, which I think still kind of, brings it to a level where it's just really good. But all the Seasoned Wood jokes are coming out. I love it. Man. The Seasoned Wood, guys, is so fucking good. I just got like strawberry cotton candy on the palate with the cherry, the oak, a little grape, and it's got a finish to it. It's got like a bold finish, like from front to back, that the others don't have. Man, Seasoned Wood. If I'm gonna hunt down any Colonel Taylor special release, that Seasoned Wood is fucking ridiculous. And the Amaranth of the Gods just coming just behind it, I think, because of its uniqueness. It's got this raw spice and heft to it that the others don't have. The 4-grain is phenomenal. I can see why a lot of people make that their favorites, with it being so sweet. But, compared to the others, it doesn't have a finish. Or doesn't have a finish compared to the others. So yeah, I want Taylor's wood right now. All the seasoned Taylor wood. I want all of it. Wow. Yeah, but how does Benchmark compare to these? Bubble Bath Bourbon. How does Benchmark compare? How does the Benchmark Foolproof compare to Colonel Taylor? Wow, this was one of the coolest blinds I've ever gotten to do. So again, huge thanks in the chat to Dan and Julie Like for sending this along. Never thought I'd be able to do this. Dan and Julie, you were right. The seasoned wood is phenomenal. Easily took first place. Right behind it, though, the Amaranth of the Gods, which I wasn't impressed with at first, took second place. 4 Grain and Tornado C Survivor are right there. Tornado C, I think, is an outlier because it has like that dusty note to it. And Warehouse C, just a complete dud. Like, I would never fucking buy that whiskey unless it was retail. And then Single Barrel, which actually took out Warehouse C, like, easily. Like, the Single Barrel is actually a much better expression than Warehouse C. This Warehouse C is shit. It's flat. It's lacks a lot of flavor, lacks complexity. The fact that they brought that out as a special release, I think, is bullshit. But hey, that's me. But man, seasoned wood is the shit. 18-year. I got to get a sample of the 18-year Taylor Marriage. I got to see how that does, because when I tried that, I remember the first time, I loved it. I got to see how that would do against seasoned wood and some of these others. But with that, guys, thank you so much. Be on the lookout tomorrow for my full review to get all the details for Jackie Zykin's new Hidden Barn. You might actually see her on this channel live to talk about it a little bit more in detail, maybe next week. So stay tuned for that. Also, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for you before you leave. Love you guys. It's great to be back again. Dan and Julie, love you guys. Thanks for sending this along. A lot of great whiskey was had tonight. Cheers. Go tune into Women of Whiskeys next, and I will see you next week right here on the Mash and Drum. Oh, didn't spill. Take care. I'm going to finish out this seasoned wood. Cheers, guys. Love you all. Take care, guys.